We're live.
We are live.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, yes. What's up, guys? We 15 minutes late, but we got it. It's too bright in here, right?
It sure is.
You like that
It's
better?
much better.
All right. What we're talking about?
So welcome to our spiritual chemistry. This is episode 3, and we are going to be talking about spirituality and isolation. Dun, dun, dun.
Isolation is necessary when you're tapping into your ultimate self, which is your spiritual self. Definitely got to create some clarity, and solitude is great. I find a lot of clarity in solitude for years now. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be branching off to a few different things. You know how we go. This is off the top. So whatever our hearts and our soul is speaking. And today we're live, so you guys can hit us up with questions. Um, we would love to answer some questions, keep us engaged. That'll keep us going as well. Um, and so
So, what is spirituality to you? What is your definition of
uh,
spirituality?
spirituality to me is, well, I know that we're all born out of divinity, out of divineness, out of love, which is divine is spiritual, right? It's godly. So I believe that the spirit of God is in all of us, but it's up to you if you want to tap into it or not. A lot of us think we tapped in, but we're not. But we're really tapped in. So spirituality to me is no religion. It's just tapping into our own spiritual self, which is our highest self. You have your human self and your spiritual self, and they're constantly battling with each other until you know that your spiritual self is really the way to go. So, and yeah, that's what we want to. We're not trying to tell everybody what to do. We're just telling people what works for us because people can feel our energy anywhere we go. They love the little. I mean, we get tons of feedback on the few episodes we did, but even before that, years we was out and about. People can feel it. Our interactions. I used to see a few couples like this when I was younger, and they was just always in this like little bubble. They was around a million people, and they just had this bubble around them, and they're one of the few couples that are still together today, and they tapped into their spiritual self. And I seen a few other people. I never thought that this would happen to me, but I prayed for this. Tried everything else, nothing else worked. But tapped in myself, and then I met her while she was tapping in. We got together, we tapped in together, we healed together, and we have an abundant life together. The devil still tries to tap in there and do what he do, but we're battle tested now, so we just brush it off our shoulders and keep moving. It feels good,
I
and people want it, so that's why we started this podcast. Go ahead, go
We're
ahead.
not gonna let you
All
talk
right,
the whole
right, right.
episode.
Yeah.
So for me, I know when we got together, we both talked about how we had, kind of shied away from church because just a lot of reasons, right? Um, for me personally, like I went from church to church to church to church, trying to find a place that felt good to me. And there was always something missing. And I know, I've always had a one on one relationship with God. Um, so I didn't feel like it was completely necessary to find a church home, but I was seeking forever. Like I was brought up Catholic, and a lot of it just didn't mesh with me. Like I didn't understand how you could like sin or murder or whatever and then go confess and then you're fine. You get another free pass into heaven. It just didn't make sense to me.
I got allergies too, so I'm gonna be sneezing. I might jump out the picture.
You
Oh
don't
my
know
god.
if you're gonna be seeing.
Oh, I feel it coming now, but
Okay.
I do have allergies. You know that.
I know you have allergies, but you said I'm gonna be
I
sneezing.
just felt it. I just held it off. But keep going.
So yeah, and then I just tried every denomination, non-denomination,
And
everything.
then every movie you saw when you read the Bible, is Jesus never was in the church. He was walking all over the place, speaking outside, gathering people together, teaching the message. Right.
Well, I don't know verbatim, but I know there is the one where it says where two or more gather,
Right.
and then the other one where the kingdom of heaven is inside you,
And I
and
was gonna say that exactly. Yep.
those two
Right.
always stuck with me.
Right. This, our the spirit of God is in us, man. Our vessels is the temple. So it's just makes sense. I don't have nothing that I don't get into the religious thing because whatever works for you will make you a good person. It doesn't matter religion, spiritual, whatever. I believe the foundation to living in an abundant life is having a good heart with good intentions for everybody. But it's just so happened that we applied that with tapping into our spirituality, and it's been working. I mean, it's a bunch of different ways to get to where you need to be, right? But the ultimate goal is to find clarity. A peace of mind is priceless. Uh, Good intentions for everyone. I mean, you can't even have negative thoughts about people, wish bad on other people, and then expect for you to
Be
acquire an
blessed.
abundant life and be blessed. It don't work like that. So you really have to make a conscious effort to tap into that so you can feel what we feel and have what we have.
I think like a lot of the things that I got from church that were wrong didn't mesh with what I felt was, like stuff like, swearing or cursing, right? It's like, oh, you can't talk like that. But then the things that come out of people's mouths that are not curse words that are so damaging and hurtful, like gossiping and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
And it's like, so who makes the rules? Like, where do we draw the line?
right.
Why is it okay to, talk negatively or, spread rumors or things that we haven't verified as true about someone? And then on the other hand, judge someone else for saying shit. Like it didn't make
Yeah,
sense. It didn't make sense to me.
yeah.
And a lot of instances like that. So it's not like just one thing that was like, oh well, there was a multitude of different reasons why I swayed away from church, and I think a lot of it is like that control aspect. Like it's very controlling, very judgmental, and I just never
Well,
believed.
I think a lot of people, even old school church folks, I think they understand as well because it's a feeling process. You can feel people energy. You know what I mean? Like people in my family, I am who I am, and they know that the spirit of God is manifesting within me. So it's all about not being judgmental. You can't judge the messenger, right? Or just not judge people and period. So, but I wanted to tell everybody on the Instagram page, tap into YouTube because we're gonna stay live on YouTube. We just went live on Instagram to let everybody know we on YouTube live, and that's where you can, I guess, ask
Send your Yeah.
questions and answers. So we're gonna be a few more minutes on live Instagram, but tap into our spiritual chemistry on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. See y'all over there. And but yeah. So no judging, right? And but yeah, going back to spirituality and solitude, right? I think that's necessary because when you're on this spiritual path, you can't. It's like me and you are fully invested in that, and it can be the closest ones to us, and it's always the closest ones to us that, if they're not on the same page with you, and you're trying to get everybody to jump on the same page with you, so we can all get there together, but you can't want more for somebody else than they want for themselves, right?
Mhm.
What? Excuse me? I burped a stink. Yeah, your facial
Sorry,
expressions is crazy.
I can't help it. I've been working on that forever.
But you just made me lose my train of
I'm
thought.
sorry.
What?
Isolation, family unit.
Yeah. So when it's harder. It's hard enough as it is with just us two trying to you know get this rolling, right? But then when you
It's
got,
not hard.
well, I mean, at the beginning,
It wasn't hard
yes, it was hard.
for us.
I mean,
I'm
because
saying, go ahead.
no, I want to know what you mean it wasn't
No,
hard.
it wasn't hard. It felt very easy. Like everything
Well, I
was
mean, I
good.
know when we first met each other, it was an instant spiritual
No,
connection,
like
but
we had a lot in common, but yeah, I could understand just like past baggage and stuff like that, if that's what
right,
you're
that's what I'm
referring
talking
to.
about.
Okay.
Yeah, because it took a while to heal. I mean, to get here, and that's another thing we didn't mention it today, but we mention it all the time. The healing part to get here, that was
Well,
the hardest part,
yeah, and you can't even say we healed
and we
because
didn't fully heal yet,
we're
right? Because we
healing.
still, your brain remember things, right? And yeah, so your brain can only take but so much trauma, and if something reminds you of past traumas, that you can get a trigger. And but we snap out of the triggers real quick now, which is dope. Before triggers, and some people, or I'm just forget everybody else. For us, they used to last for days, right? And man, I'm glad we passed that stage. That's amazing. But but yeah, the going back to the solitude thing, we really came a long way and got real far once we decided to make that step, right? Take that jump.
Well, I mean, for me, there's been many different phases of solitude. Like, this is a different phase of solitude, I'd say, where we like moved away from family and loved ones. But I've had different stages of solitude, I'll say, where, as I've gone through this process of healing and kind of like coming into myself and realizing that, the things that I used to do were the things that, um, the things that were important to me just weren't important anymore. Kind of just unpacking all that and discovering, um, oh, was I hitting it?
Yeah,
Discovering who I am and um, realizing that I didn't really, as I kind of,
that comes with getting old too, though. What used
you
to
think
matter don't
so?
matter anymore.
Well, I'm talking about not right now because I have a different level of solitude than you do. See, like you're in solitude away from like your family, but you still are surrounded by a lot of people. Like I'm in
Right.
a different state of solitude, I think.
No, you are.
So yeah,
I
just
gotta. I'm trying to catch up to new you now. Because you really got superpowers.
well, I think
Oh,
it
I
was
gotta get there.
it was the other way around, right? I
At the
was trying to
beginning,
get to this zen place. Like Lamar is so zen and like nothing bothers him, and I was not like
right?
that.
And then you got there, and then it's like you got there. Well, no, it took a minute,
Well, I once I got there, I realized I didn't want to stay there because
right?
I
And
like.
it's right. You got there. You was like, no, it's deeper. We can go. We can do more. We can do more. You did the shadow work, and you put in a lot of time, and you did a lot of. You took a lot of classes and courses. You got crazy certificates, and yeah, and you really tapped in right now. You're helping people real navigate and cure some deep emotional scars. And I see it, and I get your testimonies. I see your testimonies all the time. That's awesome. That's great. So now, I gotta catch up to you. Good job.
Right.
Good job,
Thank
man.
you.
I'm
Yeah,
proud of you.
I think yeah, but once I got to that place where I was like, okay, I can control my emotions. I don't let things bother me. But then it was like, okay, well, what else is there, right? What else? And I like had some medical issues pop up here and there, and I, started working with energy healing and stuff like that, and just finding different ways to heal myself outside of like standard medicine, because like we both do not take regular medicine. Like if we have something wrong, we'll go to the doctor and get a diagnosis and then find a natural treatment. It's like the
Or just even cutting things out
mm-hmm,
and exercising more
right.
and not claiming that illness. You know what I mean?
Right, 'cause it's that whole thing. Like you have a symptom that's telling you something is out of balance, and you
Hmm.
go to the doctor and they give you something to stop that symptom, but it's not addressing the
No,
issue.
no, it causes other stuff, side effects, and I mean, we can't. I don't even want to get into talking about that medicine and all that, but yeah, like with my allergies now, it's like it just happened like yesterday, 2 days ago, and it's my fault because I haven't been eating the right thing to
Well, you
prepare myself to fight off these allergies, right? So
it
I mean,
depends. You got to find out what you're allergic to so that you
yeah,
could know how to
but I've been
combat it.
eating. I haven't been eating correctly lately, and that's my human side, So, like I said, we said earlier, we're constantly. It's a constant battle between your human side and your spiritual side, but uh, came a long way, and I'll say I don't even know how far we are tapped into our spiritual self, but the people who I talk to that's been really tapped in for a long time, they always say it's just never ending. You know what I mean? So, and that's a good thing because God always wants us to. He don't want us to get comfortable, right?
Absolutely.
So
Well,
I understand that.
right.
So that's why it's not
Well,
ending.
we're human, so we're having this human experience. So I don't think that we get, you say it all the time, we get new traumas all the time, and we can go deeper into healing. Because you could heal something on the surface level, but then you can always go deeper, deeper. It just keeps coming back around with
Right.
more healing.
Right. Yeah. So going back to the clarity that you get when you're in solitude, I mean, you meditate more, you think more. I talk to myself, and I have whole conversations with myself and to play things out. And I think that's necessary, even if you always think positive, but your human side kicks in, which I think is good for both because sometimes your human side could be a little dark, and I think we need to have that balance, right? Because you can't, God needs strong soldiers out here, right? So I think your dark side reminds you of of what you're feeling. I mean, it's spiritual and human. I think it collides together, but when your spiritual self becomes the CEO of all your other personalities, you're in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? And that feels good. You got to make sure, that your spiritual self becomes the CEO of all the other personalities that we developed growing up on this earth. I call the belly of the beast because you go in survival mode, and like now you know how to navigate because your spiritual self is letting you know, like, how the new cars now, when you're about to come close to another car, it'll vibrate and a red flashing light comes on. That's what my soul feels like when I feel an energy that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope, right? But no, that's just how it is.
You get warnings in your body.
Right, you get warnings, and before we all get that, especially if we're making a conscious effort. But we all have superpowers, but if you're not tapped into your spiritual self, you're not going to receive them. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to, and just by experience, and the so many times that I didn't pay attention. That's how you learn, right? And so yeah, so I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations to where shame on you if you keep allowing the same thing to happen to you over and over again. You can't blame nobody else but yourself if you're not aligned with your spiritual self, right?
Mhm.
And so I got tired of getting mad at myself. And now it's like I felt this energy before. You can't. I'm not going there with you. You know what I mean? I'm battle tested, right? But even still, it can. I think God allows. I think it's necessary. I don't want to say God allows uh, people to sneak through cracks to really. Yeah, there's an old school saying out there that says you got to keep your grass cut short so you can see the snakes slithering. But it's some snakes that's really good with the grass cut, and you don't see them until they right in your face like that. You know what I'm saying? And then you get mad at yourself, but then you don't get mad at yourself because the devil got some sneaky, strong soldiers out here too, right? So you need that to keep you battle tested, right?
Oh, it's all lessons.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think too, for the isolation, it's like you have to learn you. Like a lot of times there's distractions, too many distractions, right? And then two, like especially when you're healing, if you have too many people around you, you're not going to go deep into it because
The
you can
energy
call
is off.
somebody up and go hang out, or somebody could call you and you can have a conversation. You really need to figure out who you are, what is your energy and what's not your energy. I know for me, because I feel so, like, I'm really sensitive, so I can feel other people's energy.
Right.
I can, now I'm not going to get too deep into that, but just being in isolation, I get to know like my energy. And even though we're here together, like we give each other a lot of space when, if needed, and if not needed, we don't, we, like, there's no requirements of or time constraints or anything like that. It's just like, oh, you need some time, take it, like,
Right.
and that's completely necessary for this path of
Right.
everybody's on.
Even though we're on the same journey, it's everybody's on their own time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all have our own path,
Right.
purpose. We all came here to do something a little different, I
Mm-hmm.
think, with
And
our own
right.
flavor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
Are you gonna get off of that, or are you gonna keep it
yeah,
going through the
yeah.
whole thing?
You guys go to our spiritual chemistry podcast and tap in live. All right, spread the word, and we'll see you guys over here. All right, peace, peace.
It was like I didn't know where to look at times.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of people have a hard time with the isolation aspect because, I mean, you have, I think we talked about it last time, where you have these um, preconceived notions of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, like, family and
Oh, that felt so good. Damn, that felt good. Mm. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you have these preconceived notions of how your life is supposed to go or what your role is supposed to be as a parent, as a child, as a, you know, brother or sister, mother, father, whatever, you have these expectations. You
Right.
thought life was going to be this way. And then when you start getting pulled in different directions, like a lot of people don't follow through with their purpose because they get stuck in relationships and, you know, feeling that they have to be there for other people when we all have our own individual journey.
Right.
That was hard for me.
Right.
Um,
I mean, it was
for
hard for
both of
me as
us,
well,
yeah.
for both of us, yeah. And that was like an aha moment. We saw a what's the a guy, I forgot the guru guy with the big white beard. He said something that was an aha moment for me, and I was already feeling that, but we're fighting for what we think how life is supposed to be. Like even with my kids, right? Was fighting forever, and it became exhausting because I'm like, I did everything I could possibly do, and I'm like, for one, I was like, why am I? I'm a good person. Like I help mentor hundreds of kids. Why do I have to fight to be in my kid's life? But then I realized that, oh snap, every individual have their own life lessons to learn, right? And as much as we want our kids to be a better extension and a better version of ourselves, you can't want more for somebody else than they want for themselves. And that applies to my own kids. And I didn't even think that I would be in a situation like that. And like I said, I used to judge men who wasn't in their kids' lives, and I had to apologize. I apologize again, men. But you never know what circumstances that somebody's in, and I was judging, right? And so from the outside looking in, if you don't know me, people find out I got kids, they'd be like, I never see your kids or that. But that's a situation to where I realized that they have their own life journeys and they have to learn their own lessons. And I was basically hindering them from learning their life lessons by interfering with that, right? And then I still had a long journey to go. I learned my lesson from that, but now they have to learn their lesson, right? And so the second best thing we could do is lead by example and inspire, right? And before my kids, I've been cutting for 39 years. I got kids that, I have so many testimonies, and this is one of the reasons why I am who I am today, because I kept getting confirmation through people on I'm doing the right thing, and they thank me so much from something I told them 20, 25, 30 years ago. I get phone calls, text messages for Father's Day, my birthday, New Year's, of kids that are, mind you, I've been cutting kids since they were 1 years old. Now they're like 38 years old, right? And sometimes they would hit me up, come to town, or even if I'm back home or wherever I'm at, they want to take me out for a drink to thank me for helping them, or they sending me sneakers. I don't buy sneakers no more. People know I used to be a sneakerhead, and they making a lot of money now, and they be sending me sneakers or just connecting me, and that's confirmation that I was who I am, and I didn't even know it, just by having empathy for people, right? And I used to hate myself because I cared so much, and I used to be like, why do I care so much? Why did I? And it's because what I've been through, and I kept moving forward. When I didn't even know that I was who I was, I just kept moving forward. I would. It wasn't nothing like now, but I was stagnant for a while. But I would always come back out of it. And my life was extremely transparent. Being a barber, I remember cutting hair, and I always had like 8, 15 people waiting for me. And if the lawyer called me, or I was got jammed up with the IRS, or my lawyer called me, or my ex called on some rah-rah, or whatever it was, I had to handle that business in front of everybody. So I was like on center stage cutting like this. This is before I got the headphones and all that, cutting and talking my business, and people be like, yo, why you letting everybody know your business? And I would be like, not know, that it was people was listening and learning. But my answer back then was like, listen, none of us live in a glass house. Maybe somebody can learn from my situation, right? So I never was embarrassed. I remember a few of my barber friends or clients would be like, man, you should go outside. It's like, man, I got all y'all to cut. I don't have time to go outside. Y'all gonna hear this. You know what I mean? But then fast forward 5, 10, 15, even 20 years later, people hit me up like, Lamar, man, remember back in 1995 or 1999 or 2002 when you was going through da 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 da? How did you get through that, man? I'm going through the same shit. How did you? And I was like, see, that's divine, right?
Yeah.
So me being transparent and it was cool to like show men it's cool to show vulnerability, right? Nobody's uh Superman, right? The people that pretend to be like they got it all the way together, that's and they're hurting on the insides, they become that super hyper masculine male that is torn up on the inside. And they're pretending to be something that they're not, and that's hard to keep up with, right? And so I get a lot of those guys too to see that they used to be like, oh, you're not from the hood, you this is and that. And I'm like, I live on the same block as you. Like, it's just that I chose this route and you chose that route, right? But then, you know, the people they was working for was coming to me to get haircuts. And they was big time drug dealers, big time bosses. And they would come to me and tell me they envy me. But I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. How you how you gonna be envy me or not envy me, but in a good way? They said I want to be like you, but we would have deep conversations, and they would be like, "Nah, man, you don't have to watch your back. You don't have to do this." So build good relationship with those type of guys, right? And everybody take different paths in life, and that don't mean that they're not good people. I met some awesome hustling drug dealing people, right? They were awesome. They just knew how to dwell in the belly of the beast and come home with the bag every night. But they was awesome people. Still have great connections with them, and they wouldn't allow me to even think about going that route. They was like, man, you got good credit. You cutting hair all day. They was like, you look like a drug dealer, but you're not. And in the hood, that's the first thing we see is successful people is drug dealers, right? So, they got all the girls, they got everything, right? But here I am, I'm from the hood, but I'm not in the street. The street used to come to me. And those guys to the day I have the best relationships with. And then lead them by example. Going through, man, I've been through like I saw like 7 generations. Like when you're a barber, you cutting. I'm cutting people my age. I'm cutting their little brothers. I'm cutting a bigger brother. I'm cutting their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers. That's like 5 generations with one family, right? And so the relationships, man, is unbelievable. I want to thank all you guys, man, for you know accepting me for who I was over the years. It's like I see videos now, like guys like me, people used to be like, "Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that," but I persevered. I stayed true to myself, and now you see the younger generations that's sending me all of this stuff. I inspired them to be that way. So it's like, and you know what I mean. And that's what they tell me. I'm not tooting my own horn, but go on my what is it called? My insights,
Highlight.
my highlights, and I posted a lot of those things in there. But yeah, that solitude thing, man. So even back then, I was real up, like I was real messed up, right, in my life. But everybody thought I was that guy. I wasn't going to my senior prom because I didn't feel right, right. I think my teeth was all jacked up and everybody thought I was more than what I was, and I didn't think of myself like that at all. I wasn't going to my prom. Everybody found out I was cutting everybody here to go to the prom. Bunch of kids showed up at the door like, "Yo, you got to come to the prom. We can't have the prom without you." Everybody had on tuxes. I used to be a dancer back then. I had to put on, I used to go to church. I had to put on a church jacket and I used to dance. And I had to put on some them MC Hammer baggy pants. So I had some MC Hammer baggy pants, a church jacket, and some shoes, some dancing club house music shoes. Went to the prom and they voted me prom king, and I was like, wow, that was a boost of morale for me, right? On wow, like these people think I'm that dude, right? And won a few other awards, and that was like a aha moment for me. And at that and always then I always chose to be myself. I never was a follower, right? And that's one thing that I always tell young people, man. Be honest with yourself, man. You can't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. It'll pay off, man. And I think now with all this positive stuff on social media, people have more insight that it's cool to be yourself, right? But back then, it's just was something where I would try to step out of my boundaries and like cross the lines and go try to be like what they was doing over there. And it was I think it was my ancestors that really I think my ancestors were shaking me up. It was like, get your ass back over here. And but then didn't really miss anything because I was so busy with cutting hair. I think I can't say I know cutting hair and being a barber like really, really saved my life. You know what I mean? And then I'm talking too much again.
I don't know. I'm trying to wait for you to get to like
Yeah, but
yeah.
so the thing was, um, even back then, I was popular, but I wasn't always out and about. So because I would be in the house tired, and then in my solitude and finding clarity and
Mm.
navigating. You know what I mean? So yeah, I always go off on a rant, but I think that was necessary though because that message was to tell people to stay true to who they are.
The
Right.
authenticity.
All right.
Like, and you know, we're all unique. So you're like you're so more social. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, you can be more social than me. And
You
like,
say that all the time. You
right.
tell people that.
Well, if it's a conversation that I'm into, then I can like out talk you. But if it's like I just let you go because it's like I know that your mind is going somewhere, and
Right.
I'm just, I know when I get cut off, then I lose my train of thought. So I'll just let you go and
But
see
then I'll
where.
stop because when we're around a group of people and I'm talking and everybody's like looking at you and I'm like, well, speak up, man.
But
Right.
you're talking. How can I speak up?
Well, I'll include you
No,
and then
the last time this happened, you were talking
at
at the
the world,
spa.
yeah, at the spot,
You
yeah.
were talking, and everybody was listening, and you were like, chime in. They're waiting for you to say something. And they were like, no, we're not. Keep going. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
were talking. So
Yeah.
it's like, this is all your mind. You're thinking that, I should be saying something. But if you have a point that you're getting across,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Yeah, that was an
expressing,
awesome day that day.
like
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a few of those.
and I think that like in the beginning, I would like maybe feel a certain way or stop you or be like, oh, you're overthinking or let get in my head. But I don't anymore because I know sometimes the message is coming from somewhere else. So I just let you go. It's happened to me several times. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's happened to your clients where you're delivering a message to me and you have no idea what you're saying. So I just let you go.
Mm.
And then,
Well, yeah, well, I know for a fact, and I would tell people sometimes when they come to the chair, sit in the chair, sometimes like I'm talking and it's like I'm not talking. It feels like something took over me and I'm delivering a message to them.
absolutely.
And I swear to you, some either would start crying or some would be like, yo, how did you know I needed to hear this? And then I would be like, knowing who I am now, I'll be like, well, have you been praying? Have you been thinking of something that's on your mind, something that's bothering you? And I was like, well, God uses people as vessels to relay messages to each other. So I'm definitely a vessel that relays messages. I'm a perfect candidate for that because I get all walks of people every day walking in my chair, sitting in my chair. So, and they would be like, wow, that's amazing. So this that alone helped people be more curious on the spiritual thing,
Right.
right? And then I go hard when they was like, wow, I needed to hear that. And so that's when God be like, yeah, get them now. You
I'm
know
gonna
what
tell you something that I never told you before. So you're
I mean?
nervous. So when we first started talking, and the first time you did that to me, where you said something to me that there's no way you could have known. You delivered a message, and you had, like, initially when you started talking, you started blink, like clink 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 in your eye. So people who know Lamar have probably seen that. You started like clinking your eye, and you started talking, and you delivered the message, and then I started crying, and then you looked at me and was like, "What's wrong?" And I was, all choked up, and you was like, "What did I say?" And I realized that you had no idea what you said.
Mm,
So I, because of who I am, I started Googling, like, the twitching eye thing, to
mm,
see, like, if you had something.
wow. What? So what did it say?
It didn't say anything. I found some things that could possibly, but then I ran across, like, people that channel,
Mm,
and it was like there was instances of people, like, getting messages from somewhere else. They go into a trance, like, state, and they, like, either, some people close their eyes, some people, like, and I came across that, and I was like, okay, this is, it's just like I fell down that rabbit hole of looking into that. But um yeah, I think that's why, like, you just start talking, and you go start talking about something, and then poof, something else takes over, and
yeah,
then
that
it
happens a
starts
lot.
talking through you.
Yeah,
and and the messages are always like,
necessary, right?
yeah, it's there's no way that it's coming from you, because it's things that you wouldn't know. Like, you were saying things to me that there was no way you could possibly know, because it was so early in our relationship, and it was something that I didn't share with you, that
Yeah.
only someone who, like, knew me would know. And even people who knew me didn't know me
Mm-hmm.
that deep. And it was like, it was crazy. So yeah, so that's why I don't stop you.
Yeah.
That's why I don't care. Like, you know, it may look like you're just taking over the conversation. I just let you go, because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's bigger
Right.
than us.
Absolutely. I tell people I'm not taking no credit for none of this, man. This is what I asked. I asked God to help me help people, man, and I really been doing that, man. And so that's the confirmation that I keep getting to allow me to keep doing this. You know what I mean? But I remember the real aha moment was, well, it was a few steps, but when my auntie called me to speak at my grandmother's funeral. Um, Before that, prior to that, we had grandma's 100th birthday. And remember when I took you to meet my grandmother and you were saying how, tell that story.
I think we told it.
We talked about that
I think
already?
so. But
Yeah, so okay, so if you did, they can go back. But anyway, so yeah, we did talk about that. So when I think that she put something inside of me, man, to give me that extra oomph, you know what I mean? So when I talk at her birthday party, um, I think that was an outer body too. It was like a
right,
spiritual thing, right?
because you were trying to do a speech or write notes or whatever,
Right,
and you
but
didn't
then
give your.
but then fast forward to her a few months later, she passed away, and that night before, when they chose me to speak, that night before, I wrote down all this stuff, and when I got on the pulpit to speak, something just took over me, and I didn't even look. I had a list on my phone, all her bullet points and everything, and I didn't even look at my phone once, and it's like something just took over me, and I can't even you recorded it, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, that was like another aha moment for me. And then it was a long line of people, man, waiting for me because I ran off the pulpit and went to the bathroom. I had to go piss or whatever. And when I came back, it was a line of people waiting to tell me. There's like, oh, when you I forgot the word they use when you cross over, become a minister. No matter where you at, we're gonna come support you. And I was like, oh snap, I'm gonna be a
What?
minister, right? And then, but that was a big moment for me because I never thought. And remember, I had a revelation of me. Is that what it's called? A revelation or a sight of me speaking in front of a lot of people? That's the right word, right?
Mhm.
And I never knew that I would be able to do that, and that was confirmation for me as well.
Yeah, and that's going to go back to the isolation because if you have, and we're not saying this to be like, oh, I'm special or anything, but when God is using you, like, I feel like there's a lot of, I don't want to say the devil comes because that sounds, but
My mother, my auntie, and my mother was telling me that for years that God is using you. They could feel it, you know.
right. So then there's going to be other things that's coming into your life to distract you and deter you from your purpose.
Hmm.
And that's why the isolation is
So necessary.
necessary when you're doing the work to heal and to, you know, step into your purpose, like, and to accept your your purpose or what you say you asked for to be used as a vessel. You
Hmm.
ask God to use
Help
you.
me help people.
So when you have a calling like that, it demands that you learn the difference between God's voice and other voices,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Because there's always distractions,
Absolutely.
and you have to make sure you're following
The right voice.
the right voice, or
Yeah, man.
following the right path, or following, you're not being led to communicate things that are not of
And that
God.
was the beginning stages for me. I don't know about for you, but now I already know what the voice is. You know what I mean? And I'm never walking away from that
Oh,
voice.
absolutely.
And that's a beautiful thing, man. But still, the isolation is necessary. I mean, like look at everybody. Look at Buddhists, right? They're always in meditation. They're always in Zen mode, right? And you need that to really, really tap in, right? So that's that's it.
But
That's it.
yeah, and I think when you have, like, I just said, when you have that calling or a purpose, like, there's going to be a lot of distractions and a lot of things that come your way to try to pull you off of the path. It just comes with the territory, and you
But
have
how
to.
do you know when to say no? I'm not gonna let that happen.
Well, anything for me, I know we've had the conversation where I said, like, okay, I'm like all in, like, you know, let's, it's me and you. But if you ever try to, not that it would happen, but if you ever come in and say, okay, like, this isn't it, and try to detract me or defer me away from this path or God, then that's a deal breaker, right?
Hmm.
So anything that, for me, there's a bunch of things that will tell me, like, what side, right? What I'm dealing with, if it's of God or not. Like, God is loving, God is not judgmental, God is, there's no jealousy, there's no any of those negative
Right.
emotions.
Hmm.
Just are not there. Like anytime you're delivering a message,
Well, I mean, they come through other people. That's my question to you. How do you
you
say
s-
no? I'm not allowing that energy to come around.
well, it depends on what it is that it's trying to get you to do, right? So
Hmm.
like let's say the if it's a friend, right? And they're trying to like, oh, whatever, hang out, like,
Hmm.
drinking or whatever excess stuff that is kind of going to throw you off. You're not going to be feeling you're as good. You're not going to be able to deliver these messages. Like, the hardest thing is like, you know, the children, which we don't really have to worry about because our children are grown. Like, and that's the thing. Like, people will guilt you into feeling that you're supposed to, like, once you're a parent, you sacrifice your life forever.
I've seen a lot of people lose their life
Well,
after doing that.
right. Like, working in finance, you know how many people I see, elderly people, blow through their full retirement with over their grown children. Like, it's so sad.
I
Where
seen when parents divorce over the kids, over grown kids.
but this is what we're talking about, like grown
Yeah,
children
yeah,
that are still trying to guilt you
right,
into take care of, like, at this point, take care of me. I put in my time.
right.
And I'm saying that half jokingly because, I don't need my children to take care of me, but I'm definitely not going to sacrifice till I'm 90 or however I take my last breath, my happiness, my purpose, my finances for, like, that is, again, like you said,
Your your space. That's what we're talking
you
about. You're not gonna sacrifice your solitude and your
well,
space.
what you said, freak. You said
How would you know if
they
it's a
have their own lessons. They
right,
have to, like, if we sit here and continue to coddle grown, like, I'm already mad that I coddled the way I did as little people.
right?
But if you continue to coddle adults,
You're contributing
you're
to their
stagnating. You're
demise,
stagnating them.
you're stagnating their growth, right?
They're not going to come into their full potential. Like, you see there's like this thing going around where it's like the generations, right?
Yeah.
So if the parents, let's say the grandparents, do really well for themselves, the kids are usually like lazy,
Hmm.
and this isn't across the
It's not
board,
across the board, right?
but it's like if you don't have to work hard, you don't appreciate.
Right.
So,
But that's not all kids, though.
but I mean, we're talking about what you asked. I'm not saying that either one of our children
Well,
are
no,
like
not
that.
we're
I'm
not even
just
our
saying.
kids. Just the people that we talk to in general. It's not all kids um that that happens to. Like you're saying, if we make it easy. Well, I know a lot of people our age, we overcompensated for our kids and spoiled them, thinking that we
Our
setting up something
generation.
for them so they can hit the ground running, but they didn't want to hit the ground running. They were just like, oh snap, it's great here. I don't have to go nowhere. A million people were talking about that, right? But the other million people were saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And so that means that it's all about choices.
Well, we look at
Kids got to make their own choice regardless on what type of life they had. I know kids that had no father, their mother was on crack, drugs, or whatever, and that kid ended up being a dentist. Some ended up being doctors or just extremely successful. I have doctors that come sit in my chair, and they wife is a dentist. And the doctor would say, we would be talking about kids, and the doctor would be like, Ben Lamar, man, I got 3 kids, and I only like one of them motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Because everybody make choices. So it don't matter what your parents do. You can have the best parents or the worst parents. You as an individual. Some people you use you either gonna use that as an excuse or use that to be the opposite of what that is.
Right, and
So
that's
it's always about choices.
well, that
Do
goes
you agree
back
with that?
to absolutely. But we also, our generation, we messed up. Like, look at the school we went
The
to.
only thing we
Hold
didn't.
on.
I just want to say. Okay, go ahead.
The school we went to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went to, like, we joke all the time when we like don't know a word or don't know geography, anything we don't know,
We said
we
we went
joke, oh, I went to Hardin.
right,
Like, so we didn't get a great education,
but
but we still made something of our lives, right?
man, I
Now,
know doctors that I went to school with. They doctors right now. You know what I mean?
no, what I'm
That
right,
went to
that went
Harding.
to Harding. But I'm saying, like, in our minds, we were like, okay, we got to get our children out of, and get them a better education, and, their life will be better or easier if we,
So we took them out the hood and took them into the suburbs, and it backfired on us
and the
because
suburbs is worse
it's worse in a lot
in
of
some,
ways.
yeah, in a lot of
Because
ways.
first of all, you're outnumbered as a minority in there, right? And then those privileged kids are teaching our kids on
Trying
how.
to
Well, they adapt to
try
if
to
they're hanging around the privileged kids and they seeing what they getting away with their parents, they try to come in our
that's
house
what I said,
and,
try
and, and
to
try to do that same shit. I'm like, no, this is nah, you not like them. You know
right.
what I
But
mean?
then, and it comes back to, like, the other thing of, you try the things that they can get away with, you're not going to get away with.
Absolutely.
So, you know what?
Absolutely. But they still keep bumping their heads, they don't listen, and they end up having to learn the hard way.
Who?
A lot of the
Us.
kids. A lot of the
Us.
kids. What did we learn?
We learned
You
that,
only get one chance at being a parent.
and they only get one chance at being a kid.
Right.
But I'm saying we learned that we didn't have to do all that.
Well,
They
it's
was
too
gonna
late because
make the same
we can't go
decisions,
back and correct it now.
and we just gotta let them be them and figure it out on their own.
Right.
So that's that's the thing. But I'm just saying, our generation in whole did this. Like, you see the memes all the time. It's like, um, hood parents raising suburban
Yeah,
children,
it's
right?
a lot of memes out there.
There's
That's funny. Yeah.
It's funny,
So and like,
but it like, look at the two generations,
mm-hmm.
right? We are built to get through stuff. Like,
Comedians say it all the time. We raised some soft ass motherfucking kids.
we did that.
We did that because we didn't like the way our parents did to us. But even though
It made
my
us.
parents, my stepdad or whatever did what he did, at the end of the day, it partly made me who I am today. I mean, it was extreme child abuse, but I was scared of that dude, right? As a
and,
kid, right?
and not
But
scared
he
enough.
taught me, huh?
I said, and not scared
And
enough.
then not scared enough because some of the things I did, knowing what he would do to me, I was like,
But
I
that
look back
goes.
and be like, wow, I was, you know
But
what I mean?
that
But
goes
we couldn't wait to get out of the house,
right.
right?
And then
But
our
we
kids.
overcompensated for our kids. We remember what our parents did to us. We was like, man, I ain't raising my kids like that. I couldn't stand that. You know what I mean? But then it backfired on us. We thought we was doing something. And how many times have you ever said, I wish I was more like my parents with these motherfuckers? Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But that's not all the kids. Some kids look at their parents like they superheroes.
Well,
And they follow the blueprint that their parents
but they're
set
still
for
not
them.
built like
And
us.
our kids didn't follow the
They're still
blueprints.
not built like us. They don't. The world is changing because the kids are different. it was all necessary, right?
Right.
Because they're not going to work and working 80 hours. They're
Right.
like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing that.
Right.
Never, ever, ever, ever. So it's all necessary. Like our parents made, the circumstances, the environment, the way our parents raised us, which is no way in reflection of saying that they did anything wrong. It was just
That they did the best they knew how to do,
that
and
was
that's where the empathy comes in. At
but two, like the way that society has us by the necks right now, right? Where we had to work 80 hours to provide for our families, our parents, you know, it was just different times. And we're all just being, what is it called?
but I understand what you're saying, but you're saying that these kids don't have to work as hard as we have to work as
I
hard.
said they refuse. I didn't say they don't have to.
Yeah, they
They're
refuse.
refusing
But
to.
the thing that a lot of parents don't like, that's our age, they refuse to work as hard, but they don't have shit. So like I'm
But
rooting for you, but prove me wrong that you
But look
cannot
at
do
look
shit
at the way that
and
they make
and
money that we didn't have access to. You can
mm.
get on a social media app and sit here and talk all day and make money. Like, you know, we didn't have
But
access
I'm
to
talking
stuff like
about a
that.
lot. That's very few far in between. You got a lot of kids that don't want to do shit and they don't have shit, but they trying to act like they the shit. How you acting like you the shit and you don't want to work and then you don't have shit? You don't have shit, so how can you be the shit? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, where are these children?
They scattered all over the place.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. Where are they in the world?
Like I
I'm
said, we,
saying,
we can this
so
conversation could go forever because
here's,
it's all about
you're gonna let me
choices.
talk.
No, I just wanted to say that. It's all about choices.
Right.
Everybody has a choice to make,
But
regardless of what.
if there's a kid that doesn't want to work, right?
Mhm.
Where are they living?
I don't know.
Okay, so
Most of the time, they living with the parents.
then whose fault is it if you letting your kid live with you and not be able to sustain themselves?
Right,
Again, it's like we're trying to be our kid's friend instead of being the disciplinarian that our parents were.
right.
We didn't want to do things like our parents, and we tried to be the kids' friends, and now
The
it's
kids is
like
controlling your own house.
they like, friend, come here.
Yeah,
That's what we wanted.
yeah, yeah. Keep going.
So back to isolation. No, I
I,
think
I,
that's I
I think
think
we made
that's
our point about
that's it.
isolation.
I think that's it for the kids too, the generations. Like everything is necessary for where the world is going, our evolution. Like it's necessary that somebody put an end to us working ourselves to death, right? I'm optimistic that things are going to change because it can't go on the way that it was going. We are the generation that just took our trauma and shoved it under the rug and kept going, 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 right?
Yeah,
And that's not healthy. That, you
it's
know,
not healthy, but it was necessary, and then now you can always go back and heal. You can always go, but we did it.
yeah, you can go back and heal,
Right.
but I
You
mean,
can't go back and you don't have any regrets, do you?
no, I'm just saying
You said we put it under the rug and then we did what we
that
had to
was
do to
our
keep.
our generation. So that's why I would never complain about the softness of this generation. It's necessary to bring to our eyes, bring to light, and make us realize that we were doing too much. We were working too hard. We were,
And it's
when they're demanding, like, I'm I'm sad, like, I can't go to work. I'm depressed or I have
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. And we're like, what is that? You
Right.
know? It's not because our way was better.
Right.
It's because we didn't really face our
I'm all
trauma.
twisted up.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and then and like I said, it's all about choices. So it's not this generation. It's not all kids. It's certain kids that got parents real messed up. That just
You
that's just living off their
we're blaming
parents.
the kids.
No, I didn't
Um,
say
it's
it
the
is our
choices.
fault, but the kids still made a choice.
Absolutely. We made a choice. They made a choice. Everybody's making choices.
Right.
Because I look back at, I can remember, being a child and thinking my parents knew nothing. And then now coming to this place, or, I got here a long time ago that, oh, well, some of the stuff that they were doing was right.
But even now, these kids are trying to blame the parents for their own shortcomings. Like you wasn't a good parent to me, or you did this wrong, you did that wrong, trying to make you feel guilty. And you're like, who you comparing me to? Do you know all the things that I did for you?
But that's,
They only see what they want to see, right?
well, and that's us too.
And but no, I had to forgive the
Right.
thoughts that I had with my parents because that you got to look at it back then. Even our kids, they know how to use the iPhone and technology way better than us, right? So it's different level, it's generational. It gets better and better with certain things. The difference between old school and the young school is they think they know more than us because they have the phone in their hand. The whole world is in their hand. We didn't have that. But
But
we
we
had
got the
more
phone
life
right
lessons.
now too.
We
And
got the
we
phones
got
right
the
now
phone
too.
and we got life experience. And
And that's what they don't have. I tell them in a minute, yo, you might know how to use the iPhone better than me, but life will tear your ass up.
I might
And
get the
why not
answer
learn from
slower, but
somebody else who already been through that? That's why I give the kids who are younger much props because they asking older people who they see that is successful on questions on how to do certain things. So they would say, "Thank you, Mr. Lamar, for this and that," and I'd be like, "No, thank yourself because you were smart enough to come talk to me and come ask me questions." And I was like, "I know you're getting information from everybody. It's just not me. You can get information from." Any 9 times out of 10, anybody who figured it out and have some kind of success in their life, they're waiting to give back because we didn't have nobody like us when we was growing up because our parents didn't they did the best they knew how for that particular time, right? They didn't have information like we have information now, right? So you had so I developed empathy for them because of what they've been through. And it's easy to make a child. It's hard to be in the best parent that you possibly could be. But in their mind, they was the best parent in the world,
right.
right?
I mean, our parents, it was the same thing. Like
And we
we
appreciate it though. That's the difference. Now kids, you got all this social media into learning how to manipulate, try to manipulate us, and we're not letting it happen. But you was about to say what? Don't tell me you forgot that fast. Oh, you are really bad.
I know you're not talking. Um,
It wasn't that
it's
important though.
about it's about perspective, right? Because we we were just saying that we thought in our minds that our parents did something wrong and we changed the way we parented, right? It's the same thing with our children thinking we did something wrong. Everybody is comes in this place where they're like, okay, my life is a mess and they want to blame somebody else. And it's not until you look within that you can really start to have an abundant life because you're going to remain a victim of life
That part right there.
until you look at yourself and say,
Absolutely. You got to be accountable for your own shit.
and accept that your parents do not belong on a pedestal. Your parents are only human, just like you. Your parents make mistakes. You're holding your parents to this um, unobtainable standard where nobody is perfect. We regardless of how good of a parent you are, there's always going to be places that
You need
you
to
don't
improve.
you
Right.
don't meet your own standards, their
Right.
standards, whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be. Nobody's perfect. And
Right.
it's the same thing, it's the perspective. So we could sit here and bash the kids could sit there and bash us,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure out this thing called life.
At the end of the day, everybody got to be accountable for their own shit. That's
That
what it
too.
is.
That too.
Yeah.
Like I
Stop making up excuses. You know what I mean?
well,
Anybody who's not accountable for their own shit. It's easy to call everybody else out on their shit, but nobody want to call themselves on their
right.
own shit. It's easy to do
Absolutely.
that. But when you can tap into your spiritual self and learn how to have your spiritual self be the CEO of all them other personalities, then you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Hmm.
Lead by example, baby.
And admit when you have a shortcoming yourself.
All right.
Right.
What's my shortcoming?
I didn't say you had a shortcoming.
I thought you was taking a low key jab.
I might have been.
Well, what is it? That's another episode.
No, I
We
was
got.
just talking about how you took the position of kind of like blaming the children and saying that the children are
I
blaming
didn't.
us.
I didn't. Wasn't. I said. I said that we messed up when I first started
No, no,
talking. I
no. I'm
said we
talking about
overcompensated.
the children who don't want to work and they want to, blah blah blah. And I
Hmm.
said it serves a purpose. It serves a purpose
And what's the purpose?
to get us to wake up and stop.
So and not to want to work like that,
Huh?
and to get us to wake up and do what?
Realize that we're doing too much. We're killing ourselves. You don't think so?
No, not
Yeah,
at all.
that's sad.
Not at all.
I mean, at the end of the
I
day, if
love what I do.
you love what you do, I don't necessarily love what I
Well, that
do.
now we can. That's a whole nother podcast right there.
It
I love
is.
what I do.
But it doesn't matter if you're not enjoying life.
I feel I'm enjoying life.
Okay.
I'm not
As
enjoying
long
life.
as I mean, it's your life. I can't say if you are or you're
I'm
not.
enjoying life with you every day. I wake up and we love the hell out of each other.
It's a
It's
beautiful
a
thing.
beautiful thing. So what are you talking about?
There's so much to see and explore and do,
I
and
mean, but I mean, yeah, this is another podcast. The time is up.
time is up,
Yeah.
said the man.
All right, you want to drop a jewel, a gem, or something?
um,
I mean, I've been saying, man, I'll go first. Be accountable for your own shit. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop judging. Be accountable for your shit, man. Make a conscious effort every day you wake up to be a better version of yourself. Um, Once you do that, man, you're in control of your own reality, nobody else. Stop lying to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You lying to yourself, you lying to God. Your life is based off a lie. Your foundation is going to be weak because it's off of a lie. Then you're going to have to start all over again with being honest with yourself. That's it.
and I'm gonna say, be kind to each other. We're all struggling with different things. We're all going through trying to figure out. Um, so be kind, love one another, love yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I definitely focus on the love. Definitely. And I don't focus on the hate. When you focus on the hate, you miss all the love that this world has to offer. And it's hard. That's exactly why we don't watch a lot of the news, right? Because it's all sad and negative. It could lower your vibration. So I focus on the love. no matter where I'm at. It's love everywhere we go. You just if you attract who you are, and that's a fact. I mean, you attract negative people too, but you don't give it no you don't give it no play. You know what I mean? And the negative people can feel that they can't drag you into their demonic mindset. Sometimes they get you off kilt a little bit. Is that the right word? They get you off a little bit, but you snap right back and remind yourself to focus on the love. The hate is real strong. Oh, this is a good one. The hate is real strong, but the love is overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Oh, it's overwhelming. You attract who you are. Can't lie to yourself.
It's stronger
It's stronger. It's overwhelming. God is good, man.
all the time.
You didn't give a you
I
good?
did, yes.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's short and
All
sweet,
right.
baby. All
God
right.
bless.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace.